Hey, it's Keegan. Welcome back. I'm doing another in a series of angler interviews. This is my friend Jonathan Antunez. I'm here in Denver, Colorado. This is not where I live. I'm here fishing with Jonathan and Jason Class, and we're going to do a little interview. I'm going to talk to Jonathan about what makes him tick. So let's do it.
My name is Jonathan Antunez. I grew up in Southwest Florida. I started fishing, at least according to my mom, I started fishing when I was in diapers. My first trip was with mom and dad, and I kept learning from my mom. And then I started bass fishing, and I did bass fishing for quite a while. And then back in 2005, I was on a trip to Yellowstone, and that's when I first started to fly fish. That's when I got hooked to it. And I did regular rod and reel fly fishing for about a decade or so. And then in around 2011, I kind of started to mix in the Tenkara stuff. I mean, it didn't take much. It was just like, I saw an article, it's like Japanese fly fishing. I'm like, I'm in. That was all it took. And yeah, after that, I was just experimenting.
So who were some of your early influences? How did you learn about Tenkara? Do you remember?
So it was that article, right? That it was just a one page in a fly tire magazine, right? And I think it was Daniel in the picture,
Daniel
just
Gallardo.
like Gallardo, just kind of like casting, and it was such an interesting looking picture, and I was like, this is cool. Like I think this might work. And at the time, living in Florida, I had to travel all the way up to Georgia to do any kind of fishing at all. So, any kind of trout fishing anyways. So, yeah, and it ended up working out pretty well for the Georgia waters.
Do you remember what your first rod was? Was it a TUSA rod?
Yeah, it was a Iwana.
Yep.
Yeah, the old 11-footers. It was a great rod, and I fished that for almost 7 years exclusively.
And then what resources did you use to gain experience? Were there people that took you out, or was it mostly you were going out by yourself and trying stuff?
Yeah, so it was mostly me. I really wasn't connected to the Facebook group at the time. I didn't even know there was one. And there was forums that were kind of bubbling around, and I really didn't know what that was all about either. So really I was just kind of mixing Western fly fishing, like the flies, with the Tenkara rod, kind of like doing a hybrid thing. And it wasn't until I moved out to Denver in 2016. I think the next summit was 2017. And that's where I finally got, like one of my aha moments. I'm like, oh my gosh, I've been doing this all wrong. Like, this can do so much more than just dead drifting. And that was just like, that was the day that things turned around for me. And ever since then, I've just been learning as much as I can.
So tell me a little bit about why you like fishing, and what is it about the Tenkara style specifically that appeals to you?
Yeah. What I really enjoy about fishing is that every outing teaches you something. Every single time you're on the water, you learn something new. There's always an opportunity for, to catch a nice fish or to have an experience that you haven't had before. And I think the thing that I like so much about Tenkara in particular is how versatile it can be and how entertaining it can be, because it isn't just casting upstream and letting it come back to you. There's so many other things that you can do. You can just, you can yakubiki, like reverse pull, and you can yokobiki across the stream, and you can kind of, do pong pong and tap the rod as the fly is sitting on the surface. So many different nuanced techniques that make it exciting,
So tell me a little bit about your favorite water to fish and the method that you like fishing.
So my favorite method and water to fish, they're kind of married together. I like mountain streams just fine. It's fun, it's easy. most of the fish aren't picky. They will they will eat just about anything you present to them. But I do like tailwaters because it presents a unique challenge of maybe getting a little bit closer to matching the hatch, at least in shape and size, color, maybe. Sometimes that's important, sometimes it's not.
And you say that specifically because, in your experience, tailwaters have fish that are pickier, and they've been fished to more often today. Perhaps Absolutely. They've seen the same thing.
They get a lot of pressure, right? So that has its own kind of charm, because now it's kind of like a puzzle that you're gonna have to figure out. And I'm a fly tyer as well, and I spend a lot of time tying, and I will take what I learn on stream and what I see on stream, and I'll take that back to the vise, tie up some bugs that generally fit the bill, and then I'll go back and I'll try it again, And my favorite technique is definitely the downstream swing with a little bit of action, giving that fly kind of a swimming motion, a pulsing motion. The cutcliffe style, of course, with two flies, preferably.
We should just say that we shot another video yesterday specifically about that technique. So if you're watching this, you can go find that other video. It's a 2-fly. It's very effective at dancing bugs on the surface in a very realistic way. Yeah. And we were able to entice big fish to come up and smash them, even when there was no hatch going on.
Yeah.
And it's really a cool style. And the cutcliffe that you mentioned, that's a style of fly, and a cutcliffe is the name of the man that wrote about those flies. Or?
Yeah. So the thing is, Cutcliffe never gave like independent names to any of his flies, right? So he gave like numbers, right?
Cutcliffe 1, Cutcliffe 2.
Yeah, exactly. So we call them Cutcliffe flies because it's a nice rough and ready handle.
But there's a wide variety.
Yeah, but there's a wide variety of flies. And you can tie these flies to match any bug, really. I mean, there's no limit to what you can do with this, It's change the body color, change the wing color, you have a different fly, And add some flash, don't put some flash. Put, silk ribbing, don't put it in, There's so many different ways to do this. You can fish them dry even if you wanted to. Just put a little bit of floating on there, tie them on a light wire hook. You're good to go on a dry fly. And they work exceptionally well.
I love what you said about using your experience to inform the flies you're tying and the decision you're making. You're not just listening to what someone says or what's selling well at the fly shop. You're actually going out and you're seeing, oh wow, I just saw a bug. It's a red body with a tan wing. Cool, let me try to tie that up. And then you're using that in the field as experience and saying, did that work? Did that not work? I think that approach in and of itself is really rewarding.
Absolutely. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I'm doing what I'm doing. If the fly tying thing weren't involved, it would be half of the enjoyment for me. All my enjoyment would be halved, because that other part of, I wonder if this will work. I wonder if maybe if I change this a little bit, or maybe if I make the underbody a thread color and kind of do a light dubbing on the outside, it kind of becomes translucent and it looks more like a natural insect. Plus, those kind of nuances, you're not going to get at a fly shop,
And the reward of catching on a fly that you've thought up based on something you've seen has got to be way better than just catching on a fly that is a generic fly or a worm or an egg or whatever.
And sometimes those kinds of discoveries, they come like much later after tying the flies. Like, for instance, I remember an experience it was late in the season, and I saw these green drakes coming off the water. I'm like, man, I really don't have a fly that's this big. And I don't know if you've ever seen a green drake done, but they're real short-bodied and big wings, right? And only until they get into their other stage, they get into their spinner stage, does the body elongate, right? And then you have more of a proportioned fly like you would normally see on a Catskill type fly or whatever. So I tied this fly up. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to tie it on a light wire hook because I'm not really sure how much weight, and this fly is pretty big, and I want to fish it kind of, thick-bodied. but I don't want to have too much weight because then it kind of messes with the 2-fly rig and, you know. And so I was like, okay, let me put it on a light wire hook and, you know. So I tied up maybe 6 of these things, right? It wasn't until June of the following year that I finally tested them. And it was a kind of a really happy kind of coincidence that the place that I was fishing, they did not want anything that was moving. So the cutcliffe thing was not going to work. The manipulation thing was not going to work. They're so spoiled in this water that all they want is to eat leisurely on flies that are coming at them on the surface, usually a dry fly, right? I'm like, man, I really don't have anything in the dry fly of that range, of that size, that color. But the green drakes are here, and I'm like, since this is a light wire hook, I wonder if I can fish this dry, right? Put some floating on it, let it dry, cast it out there, first cast, boom, 17-inch fish. Okay, we're on to something, right? The whole day was like that. Just dry fly, just eats after eat after eat, no hesitation at all from the fish. Who knew? Cutcliffe definitely, I don't know if he knew that they were dry, that they could be fished dry. But you know, we have some cool modern things that make it possible.
That's super cool. And you're banking on a thing that you did months earlier, and something you're like, oh, that'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's great.
You have to learn how to adapt. That's the cool thing about the sport. You're always learning something.
Do you have a Tenkara destination that you would really like to go to? You know, if I was like, hey, here's a plane ticket and a hotel, where do you want to go?
Japan.
That's Japan, huh?
I really want to fish Japan. Yeah, that's a place that I would really love to just experience. And again, reuse side of it, you know, going up into the mountains and the small streams and you know how picky those fish are. I want to test my mettle against those fish, you know. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I mean, I have to thank you for yesterday. Yesterday, Jonathan took me out and showed me this dibbing the bob technique, which we'll have a video on. And the learning curve was easy. And by an hour later, these huge fish were porpoising out of the water. And it was really, really fun. So thank you so much. And thanks for doing this little interview.
No problem.
I look forward to fishing with you more, and hopefully we can get you out to California and we'll get on some golden trout and whatever.
Let's do it, man.
Awesome. All right, let's go fish while we can.
All right.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.